So, you clicked on this video because you saw the title, and I'm assuming that you're gonna expect me to bash Lele. Not sure if I'm pronouncing her name correctly. I grew up in Hawaii, and well, when I see Lele, I say Lele. So, maybe that's just me. I don't know. But if you were expecting me to hate on her, and you were just coming here because you thought it would be interesting to see um, what someone who doesn't like her has to say, and I'll be honest, this is not the type of video where I would hate on another person. The title, The Truth About Lelepon's OCD and My OCD, was a title that I created because I wanted to talk about the subjective truth of what OCD was like for me and what OCD was like for Lele. I don't want to talk about this much on my channel, and I definitely haven't, especially when it comes to my anxiety disorders. Um, But if you're a frequent viewer, you know that I also have a psychotic disorder, which affects my life a lot more than my anxiety disorders, but nonetheless, they're still there. Lala's video on OCD gives her take on a subjective truth, what the subjective truth of OCD was like for her, and how it contrasts with mine is what this video is about. So, what is OCD? OCD describes OCD described by Google is having a tendency towards excessive orderliness, perfectionism, and great attention to detail. This is a very, very broad way of summarizing what OCD is, but nonetheless, it is accurate. I think that when it comes to OCD, there's a lot more to unpack than just being attentive to detail and perfectionism and stuff like that. I think when it comes down to Layla's videos, I like how Layla's video. I mean, I don't know if there's gonna be more than one, but one thing that I like is how she showed what OCD is like from an outsider's perspective. It's actually very chilling. She brings forth good points and is vulnerable, which is very commendable, and some aspects that may have a hard time admitting. Because a lot of the time when somebody is hurting, they don't want to admit that they're hurting. I know she's gotten a lot of flack due to people not liking her content, and hell, I didn't even like her content to begin with. But now I see her struggling with an illness that I've experienced with, and that fact shocks me to the core. Lilith states that there is a worldwide epidemic of mental illness. Millions of people in the US suffer from OCD, and that OCD is a highly disabling condition. This is very true. I remember when I was first getting these obsessive compulsions, and it would take me nearly to the point where I would have 6 showers a day because if I didn't, I'd be filled with anxiety and I'd be scared that the cameras were on me and somehow were recording me. And the main difference between that and a delusion, which, if you've had any experience with psychotic mental disorders, is extreme anxiety can seem like a delusion, but when someone's experiencing anxiety, they know that what they're doing is silly and unreasonable and not really logical, while someone in a delusion believes that it is 100% logical and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. At first, I didn't think I had OCD, but when it comes down to it, it's not my job to tell doctors what I think or don't think I have. I mean, in my second hospitalization in a mental hospital, I was diagnosed with two anxiety disorders, OCD and GAD. My psychosis has a much larger impact on my life, but the doctors don't seem to think so, and they're very adamant about my anxiety. The only experience I have with interacting with someone who had OCD was my religion teacher in sophomore year of high school. I'll be honest, he's a very good teacher. He's a cool guy, and I know some students would make fun of him because had these he had I maybe rituals, I guess. Um, we needed to have our ID on the right corner, on the right collar of our shirts, and it would need to be on the right. It need to be on the right collar. And if you were wearing a lanyard, you'd need to put it on the right collar. And also saying things when you go into his classroom, like ano ay, And then when you leave, Ohuiho, Moamopono, and stuff like that. Which, rough translation, I'm not going to get into details about Hawaiian, but basically means hello, goodbye, thank you, kind of stuff. Um, he would also have us all use the same arm, same direction, same movement to reach down and grab papers under our desk. And when it came to how I thought OCD worked, I thought it was like that. But for me, it was very different. Like I said before, I've experienced OCD in the form that um, I would have to take showers a certain number of days because I had this anxiety that cameras were on me. Or I had to be cautious of doorknobs because I don't trust how other people wash their hands. Or I need to wash my hands. Speaking of hands, I need to wash my hands a certain number of times for it to be clean, or I need to clean my hair a certain number of times for it to be clean. It just doesn't make any sense. But that doesn't make the anxiety go away. I love the snippets where Lela shows these compulsions what would look like to an outside viewer. Like the screen in the very beginning where she's in the shower and she turns the shower on and off a certain number of times. That hit home. That really made me think of my compulsion to wash my hair a certain number of times. Different, yes, but similar. She talks about her strength. She talks about her struggle with intrusive thoughts that are caused by her illness, and I cannot relate anymore. But something that separates me and Lily when it comes to our illnesses is I experienced psychosis due to a psychotic mental disorder. And because of that psychosis, I've had experience with a lot of outside voices. Now, what I mean by outside voices? Well, there are two types of voices: inside voices and outside voices. Inside voices are like those OCD thoughts telling you to do something a certain number of times, while outside voices are hallucinations that you experience outside of your body. Easy way to think of this: inside voices are thoughts, outside voices are hallucinations. So just to get that straight, I had to struggle with both. And it's very hard to differentiate the two when you are in a very, very bad place mentally. Lily's friend, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Tuan Cowper, I think, Tuan Cowper, talks about how Lily had no fear of what others thought about her. Hell, if I had no fear about how other people would view me, why would I wear this mask? I think that's an amazing thing to do, to honestly not care about what other people think. It's been a rocky road for both Lele and myself, but when it comes down to it, I'm glad that Lele found her way out of the darkness that OCD can bring. She's amazing. And that's the truth.